It's been almost 2 years since I ranked my entire Tom Ford collection, and I figured I would revisit it. We've been doing this year, going back to some of the old ranking videos because I've acquired more fragrances in each of these brands. So while we had 14 back in 2023, in 2025 we have 22. I went ahead and I re-ranked them based on my current taste, based on my current wearing. Honestly, I didn't even look at what my previous ranking was. I'm sure some of the top spots are similar, but I'm sure there's a lot that has flipped around and changed because of just the newness that we've got to the collection. And again, just because of my taste changing. So one of the things that I don't need to say, but I will say because I find that I need to say it in videos like this, I don't own every Tom Ford fragrance. So you might not see one of your favorites. And it's not necessarily because I don't like it. I just don't have it. I hope that goes without saying. This is not a comprehensive list. This is not the end all ranking of what is good from Tom Ford and what is bad from Tom Ford. This is just me and my little old world through your screen. Everything will be linked in the description, so let's dive right into it. Here at the 22nd spot, is this the worst fragrance? No, I actually don't hate the scent. I find it kind of intriguing, but it's just a little too much and too extreme for me in a direction that goes way far away from me. This is called Electric Cherry from their cherry collection or whatever they call it. And they have a few of these in the collection. I do like Lost Cherry the best of the ones that I've tried. I haven't tried Cherry Smoke. I am curious about that one. Lost Cherry is good. I don't have that one, and I will try Cherry Smoke at some point. But Electric Cherry, I hear that this is maybe not the favorite among a lot of people. And this was sent to me. In fact, I didn't even know it was coming. It just showed up and I did a first impressions of it. And I was very honest about my opinions on it. To me, it smells like pop, like cherry lipstick, kind of waxy, powdery, very sweet, very not natural. It's interesting. It's a vibe in a bottle for sure, but it is not my vibe. So that's all I'm really going to say about it. Maybe some of you guys are fans of this one. If you are, let me know down in the comments. And if you haven't tried it and you're interested, then yeah, maybe grab a sample. I'll link to what I can find down below. Up next, we have Eau de Soleil Blanc. I'm actually going to remove these glasses. This is a beautiful fragrance. It's just also not my vibe. It is that very quintessential floral, kind of fresh, creamy, coconutty suntan lotion vibe. It's a beautiful scent profile. I find it very attractive. It's just not something I want to smell like, hence why I don't really wear it. I can see myself keeping this one. Maybe Grace will get some wear out of it, but I don't think I will. That is Tom Ford Eau de Soleil Blanc. I don't have much else to say about it because I don't really wear it, but let me know what you think. Again, my wearing does play a factor in my ranking of these fragrances. This is a fragrance I do like. I have worn it in years past and I do enjoy it, but I just hardly ever reach for this. If I'm going to reach for a Tom Ford for some kind of special occasion in like the fall or the winter, this is Shanghai Lily. It's a beautiful scent. It is discontinued. I don't think you're going to find this all that easily. And to me, I get this very posh, thick white floral surrounded by spices and woods, kind of this slightly sweet, resinous, spicy woodiness that really personifies a lot of the Tom Ford fragrances in the private blend line from years past. And again, I do like it. I just don't wear it that much, but I will wear it again at some point. Let me know if you happen to be one of the few that has smelled Shanghai Lily. Up next, we have a flanker, and I didn't love this at first. It didn't really spark anything special in me, but the more I wore it and got to know it a little bit, I do like this. I think it has moved up the ranks a little bit. Maybe it would have been lower if I did this months back, but I do like Eau d'Ombre Leather. It is kind of wispy, slightly smoky, sweet, leathery vanilla. It does remind me a bit of the original Ombre Leather, but not as much as I was expecting. And I think I was just expecting this to go in maybe a fresher direction based on the name, and it doesn't really do that. Maybe it is a little bit more transparent, but I wouldn't call it like a summer leather, but it is nice. It is vanilla forward, not overly gourmand. There's a kind of a transparency to it, and it has a nice supple leather note in it, and I like it. It's just not remarkable to me. That is Eau d'Ombre Leather. Let me know what you think. And I know some of you guys aren't gonna like this, and this is something to get used to for this video. You're gonna see some of your absolute favorite fragrances not ranked as high as you would rank them, and we can just call that life. Welcome. This is Ombre Leather. I do like ombre leather. In fact, there's nothing I really dislike about ombre leather. I just don't find it the most interesting. When I wear it, it is pleasant, but it doesn't really capture me in the way that I'm looking for, like some of the fragrances at the top of the list. But when I do wear it and I'm catching whiffs of it, there's nothing about it I'm disliking. There's nothing about it I find wrong. It just doesn't quite get there for me. It's an easy wear. It's a great one to wear for any casual or semi-formal occasion when it's not too warm. And it's a great performer. It garners compliments. It's all the things. I know why people like it so much, but for me, it's just not special enough. But I know a lot of you guys dig this one. Let me know what you think of ombre leather. We got another discontinued one here, and we got a few of these you'll see later in the video. This is Mandarino di Amalfi Acqua. I do really enjoy this one. I think I've enjoyed it a little bit more in the past. There's others that have kind of pushed it down in the ranks. I think it would have ranked a little higher sometime back, but I do still like this one a lot. It is a beautiful, juicy floral mandarin orange. It is very citrusy, it's bright, there's a tanginess to it, there's herbs and mint, there's even this kind of warm, slightly animalic ambery base, allegedly, which I don't get, but I do get some depth. It just smells like a very easy to wear, semi-aquatic, fresh, citrusy fragrance with some herbs in there. And it's just very uplifting. It's a light performer. This is something you wear for a specific function when it's warm outside and you don't need a fragrance for more than a handful of hours. We'll have more of that to talk about later, you'll see. But let me know if you have tried Mandarino di Amalfi Acqua. If you can get your hands on this one, I wouldn't say run out and pay hundreds for it, but I think it's worth sampling. This is one of the newer releases from Tom Ford, and this was another one that did not spark my interest. When I first smelled it, I was actually a little bit disappointed in my first impressions, and you can go back and see that. And this was sent to me for free, so I'm just gonna be honest with you guys when I'm on camera, even if it's a free bottle, but I have worn it a handful of times since then, and I've even admitted in recent videos before this one that it's grown on me a bit. There's something about it that does resonate. I wouldn't call it special, but I would call it really pleasant and not completely generic. This is Bois Pacifique. And I think what didn't land for me about this one is based on the name. I was expecting something different. I was expecting something more overtly aquatic, more reminiscent of the sea, of the ocean. And that's just kind of a whisper in here. Yes, there's a slight salty, woody aquatic feel, but it's mostly the outside of this warm, ambery, slightly sweet fragrance that ultimately wears very handsome. It wears in an alluring way. I do like this for warm evenings. I've been wearing it a bit in the summer at night and really enjoying it for that occasion. Just the wafts in the air, the sillage of it is kind of intoxicating. Again, maybe not the most unique, but it definitely has a place. Maybe try this one if you see it out at your nearest Tom Ford counter. If you haven't tried it already, that's Bois Pacifique. We've got a legendary fragrance here. This is one that many people love and just as many people don't. And that is the mark of a great fragrance, if you're asking me. Polarization. When people go one way or the other, that means we got something special, something that has rocked the industry or the community and is messing with a lot of our perspectives on what we thought a fragrance would be. And it's been doing it since 2007. That's Tuscan Leather. And as you know, it's inspired countless inspirations, clones, dupes, coincidences, whatever you want to call it. But before Tuscan Leather, there was really nothing quite like Tuscan Leather. And admittedly, again, this is not super high on the list, so it's not like I don't love it. I just don't wear it all that much. It is a very peculiar scent profile. I got to be in the mood for this, and I have to really choose my occasions wisely because I've had this get on my nerves when I wore it in just maybe the wrong room. Maybe it was a little too stuffy, maybe a little bit too warm, or maybe I sprayed one too many sprays. I'm real particular with this one. When I get it right, it's lovely. But it's a scent profile that is so iconic. It's so special. It is a timeless masterpiece of a fragrance, honestly. Even if you don't like it, we have to objectively say that. And it will always have a place in my collection. So I want to know what you think of Tom Ford Tuscan Leather. If you've tried it, whether you hate it or whether you love it, all is fair. We got a silent originator here. There's a whole collection from Tom Ford that may not exist if it weren't for this originator, and this one gets overlooked all the time. I'm not even sure if it's still technically being produced. I know it's still out there on the internet, but I don't know if Tom Ford's still making it. Maybe they are, but it's Noir EDP. I hated this when I first tried it. I did a review on it many years ago. You can go back and check it out. And I was not positive on this one. It just rubbed me the wrong way, but I don't know what changed. You know, change is constant, so everything changed perhaps. But I really enjoyed this one. I don't wear it a ton, but I wear it more and more as each year passes by a little bit. And this is not for everyone, for sure, but it is such an elegant scent profile. It is very understated. It's very subdued. It is a patchouli forward fragrance with maybe some rose. There's this powdery nuance. It's almost like foggy, gothic, dark, semi-fresh, sweet, damp, and a little fleeting. Again, it doesn't wear super heavy, and I think that is completely in its favor. If a scent profile like this was really powerful and potent and thick and all enveloping, I think it would become nauseating. Nor would I want a scent like this to last all day long. I think that would get pretty old. Again, it's pretty particular, so I only need it for small windows of time, but I still might get, I don't know, 6-7 hours out of it, but it gets pretty close to the skin by the end of its life. And it's a really special occasion scent profile. If you want to stand out in a way that doesn't scream, this is a great way to do it, especially when it's not too warm. That is Noir EDP. We've got another timeless masterpiece, another legend here that I do like. I do wear a little bit more than some of the fragrances I've talked about, but it's been around a long time. I've smelled it a lot, and thus there's other things that I find more interesting. Simple as that. It's Oud Wood. It hasn't moved down because I like it less. It's moved down because I just have come to like other things more. It's still amazing. It's still fantastic. It's still my favorite of this type of scent profile. I did a video highlighting Oud Wood, talking about all the clones or dupes or inspirations that have come since and how I still prefer the original because of just what it has done, the path that it has paved and the foundation it has laid to where there would not be these other fragrances if it weren't for this one. And it's a very easy to understand woody fragrance. I wouldn't call it outright oud. It's maybe more medicinal type of oud, but there's some spicy cardamom, kind of fresh. There's a sweet vanilla. It's just like this very evening, handsome, slightly understated but undeniable woody fragrance with just the right amount of sweetness to catch in the air to make it very alluring when people smell it. And it's just a handsome scent. It smells sophisticated, it smells confident, but again, all without being all up in your face. That is Oud Wood. Let me know what you think. This is a relatively new release. I think it came out 2024. And I like it more than I did when I first tried it. I liked it back then, but it's still a little bit redundant to me in terms of my collection. It smells like another Tom Ford fragrance that I have and I like a lot more, and you'll see that later in the video. This is Black Lacquer, and honestly, I don't have a ton to say about it right now because I haven't really worn it since I did my initial videos. I did a first impressions video when this came out, and I also did a vlog, like me wearing it for a day, real life video, and I'll link to those somewhere. I would check those out if you want to know my real actual thoughts on this fragrance, because again, I haven't spent much time with it since I filmed those. I'm actually going to save you some time and not shoot in the dark here and try to remember what I think about this. I think that would be inauthentic. So go check out those videos if you want to know more about Black Lacquer in terms of how it smells and how it wears. But this is where it ranks for me. Let me know what you think. I'm going to present the next two fragrances together. I do rank one over the other, but the margin is so slim. Black Orchids, we have the original EDP and we have the Parfum. I like the Parfum just a touch more than the EDP. Again, another seminal, iconic scent profile that has inspired a lot of other fragrances, that really stands out and just comes across as something utterly timeless. But it's not for everyone. It's not for every guy. Some guys find it a little bit too feminine, especially the original Eau de Parfum. It is this, to me, like purple or magenta smelling spicy floral fragrance with this like chocolatey, earthy feel behind it that some people think is a little bit too dirty, or some people find it a little bit too floral, so they consider it too feminine. I think the Parfum is a good remedy to that. If you find this one to be a little bit too feminine, this one has a little bit more of a masculine edge. I think it has maybe a booziness. It's maybe a little bit dirtier and maybe a little bit more on the dry side than this one, which has a little bit more of an opulence to it, maybe a little bit more top heavy. So if you're a little squeamish about this, I would sample this one. I do like the Parfum. I know they just came out with some kind of reserve one. I don't know what it's called exactly. I'll try that at some point. I'm not going to rush out and buy it. If you've tried it, let us know down in the comments. But either way, let me know what you think of these two Black Orchids, the only ones that I have. Years ago, Noir EDP was one of my absolute favorites in my collection. It topped a bunch of lists, but unfortunately I fell victim to the opinions of others. I think my brother told me one time that it smelled like a smoker in a Las Vegas casino. That reshaped my experience of the scent in terms of how it smelled, and also made me just a little bit self-conscious that I might smell that way to other people. So I eventually sold that fragrance, which I kind of regret, but not enough to go out and buy it again. It's been years since I got rid of it, but I am happy to have the Parfum flanker of that. It does remind me of that original one, that gourmand leaning, I think it's a Kulfi dessert, which is like an ice cream with nuts and spices, sweet vanilla, ambery. It's really close to the original. I haven't put them side by side because again, I don't have the original anymore, But from my memory, it reminds me of it almost to a T, maybe with a little bit more density and oomph and maybe bottom like darkness. But I think they're kind of redundant. I don't think you need both of them. I would choose one or the other, maybe try them both, see which one you like better. But either one is a great consideration for a cooler weather, more dressed up when you really want to stand out in an attractive way. Either one is great for that. But let me know what you think specifically of the Parfum flanker if you've tried it. I did allude to this fragrance earlier when I was talking about Mandarino di Amalfi Acqua. We're talking about the classic Neroli Portofino. Again, classic, timeless, some might call it a masterpiece. Not technically original. It is based on an older profile, an older genre. 4711 is the first to really do what this does, but this is kind of like Tom Fordified, so to speak.
I'm gonna trademark that.
It's a beautiful scent. I smelled it in years past. I was never moved enough to buy it. It was sent to me in the past couple months. I'm glad to revisit it, and I do like it. I've actually been getting quite a bit of wear out of it. In those situations when I just need a dumb reach, something to wear for a few hours, I know it's gonna dissipate in maybe 3, 4, 5 hours, and I can just put something else on without having to scrub it off. I think it's great for that. But I see a lot of complaints about this one. A lot of people say it's expensive and it lasts an hour. I don't think anything really lasts an hour unless you have sandpaper skin or you're just somehow going nose blind. 1 hour and it's gone is just not possible, especially for an eau de parfum. It's just not chemically possible. But if it doesn't last as long as you need it to, that's totally fair. I would just skip it. If complaining helped, then I'd say let's complain about it, but just skip it. Move on to what actually works for you. I know there's a ton of clones that people prefer, and if that's what floats your boat and finds your lost remote, then go with that. But I think it's a beautiful citrusy, orangey, floral fragrance. It just smells like sunshine. It smells like being outside. It smells like a good uplifting mood. It smells natural to me. And yes, it's fleeting. I don't smell it super strongly while it's on my skin. When it's warmed up, it maybe comes off a little bit stronger, but not anything powerful, and I don't need it for that. I don't wear it when I'm looking for that. I wear other things, but it has a place in my collection, and I'm really enjoying what I'm getting out of it in this season. That's why it's a little bit higher in the list at this point, but I want to know what you think of Neroli Portofino. Let me know. I'm going to present these next two fragrances together. They are essentially the same, but they do have subtle differences to me. We're talking about Oud Minerale. I've experienced this years ago when it came out. It wasn't for me. I came back around and I got this bottle, which was an Ulta exclusive version, discontinued, gone. Then they brought this one back maybe in the last couple years, and this is what you're going to find now in the signature collection. And they're basically the same. I just find this one to have a little bit more personality. This one has a bit more of a safe quality to it, which I totally respect. It just makes it easier to wear, easier to appreciate. This one just feels a little bit more authentic. It feels a little bit less cautious, but they're basically the same. It is a smoky, seaweedy, dark, brooding, dry but wet, aquatic. I know that sounds weird, but that's what I get out of it. It is a very handsome and mysterious aquatic, something to wear for the evening when you want to stand out from all the Acqua de Jours and any other popular aquatics out there. I want to know what you think of Oud Minerale. Even though I like this one more, this is still fine. I would still recommend this because look how high it is in the list. Let me know what you think. Plum Japonais, another discontinued gem. This is such a fantastic fragrance for fall and winter and even spring, especially for the evening when you want to have kind of a sexy vibe, but in a way that just smells utterly like Tom Ford. This is just the most Tom Ford vibe, and that really speaks to the earlier collection of the private blends. Man, dark, fruity, spicy, woody. I almost get a similar base as I do at a Shanghai Lily. It's just they put something else on top. It's not quite that crude, but that's my experience. That's the best way I can speak about it in an associative way. But if you can get your hands on this one, I would, but not for hundreds of dollars. Maybe find a decant, but if you can't, it's okay. I know there's lots of clones out there. I haven't tried any of them, so I can't speak to them, but I just feel really lucky to have this bottle. Maybe some of you guys are just as lucky, and if you're not, don't worry about it. Let's move on. I would say the same exact thing about Tobacco Oud. Again, discontinued. I've heard rumors it might come back. It's been years I've been hearing that. I don't think it's really going to happen, and I'm not holding my breath, but I hope it does, mainly for your sake if you haven't tried it, and I hope they wouldn't tweak it too much. But it's lovely. It is sweet, slightly, again, medicinal, not really funky, earthy, dirty kind of oud, but it is a little bit edgy. There's a darkness to it. There's a roughness to it. It's very spicy. There's a booziness, maybe some whiskey. It's just a fantastic kind of black tie or just black jacket in a cold weather scent. Great for fall and winter. Can't wait to pull this out this coming fall. That is Tobacco Oud. I want to know if you're a fan. Another discontinued one just recently, from what I heard. It might still be out there here and there, especially on discounters, but I'm not sure about it. Beau de Jour. If it is discontinued, which I think it is, it's the second time. I think I understand why. It is a little too old school maybe. It smells in the realm of something like Davidoff Zeno. There's this old school oak mossy vibe. It might smell like your granddad or something, but I think there's a perfect modernity to it. I think it wears in a very gentlemanly way, very handsome, but also very robust and present. It's an undeniable scent. There's a lot of patchouli in here. There's amber, there's lots of lavender. It is aromatic. It's kind of in that barbershop vein, but with cojones. That is Beau de Jour. Let me know what you think. Ébène Fumé, and this is the one I was alluding to when I was talking about black lacquer. Black lacquer smells a little bit too much like this for me to like it as much as this, so it is down in the list. I just prefer this more. It's a similar approach. It is smoky, calming woods, Palo Santo here, with spices, with ambery resins. It just smells so authentic. It is a complete personality in a bottle. I love the little contrary edge of violet leaf that really speaks out. It adds this interesting out of the blue freshness that is a little fleeting. It doesn't last all that long, but it adds this interesting dimension to the scent. And the way it dries on the skin, for whatever reason, it just resonates with me. And it's a great performer. I can always count on it lasting pretty much all night long, and I'll smell it constantly. So if you're looking for that, maybe sample this one, but you do have to like a very smoky, woody fragrance. That's Ébène Fumé. And my number one, it's been my number one for a while. A lot of you guys already know what this is. This is one of my favorite Fougeres in my collection right now, if not my number one Fougere, and definitely my number one Tom Ford, obviously. This is Fougere d'Argent. It's not necessarily a complex Fougere. There's no elements about it that really make it stand out from everything else out there, but in its simplicity, it is its own thing while still smelling like a Fougere. And I think it's the cashmerein. There's this synthetic ingredient that is used so well here that adds this cozy, fuzzy, dry woodiness, and along with this warm kind of ambery sweetness, in contrast to the fresh lavender, this aromatic, again, kind of clean barbershop-y feel. But it's just done in a way that's a little bit more seductive. That's the best word I could use for it. It's a great nighttime Fougere. It makes me feel like myself when I wear this one. That's Fougere d'Argent. That's my number one. I want to know what you think of all these Tom Fords down in the comments.